Welcome back to Talkin Shop with ShopSabre. I'm Brandon, back with the gang for episode 106. Chad, how you doing?
Good, you?
Not too bad. Nick, how's it going?
Good. If I was any better, I'd be Chad.
Oh, I like it. Travis,
Living the dream.
Ka,
Fantastic.
and Jose. He's back.
Back in action.
Back in action. We got Jose and Kyle both here judging us right now, being judging McJudgersons. I got Judge 1 and Judge 2. I feel like I'm under the microscope. Do you guys feel like that when they're sitting over there in their judging chairs?
I just don't look at them.
They're to my back, so I forget they're back there sometimes.
Same.
That's funny. Nick, hey, you playing Tetris there, or what are you?
No, I was looking for something to send back to Brianna about her old man glasses joke, but I couldn't find anything worthwhile.
Old man glasses.
Do you wear glasses?
No, I have a pair of cheaters on my desk that I sometimes use, and
So you do.
I mean, once in a while, yeah.
The answer was yes, Chad.
The answer was yes.
He wears glasses when he needs them. That was the answer.
Every time he sits down by the computer.
Every time he tries to read anything.
Yes.
But as long as he doesn't have to read or do his job, he doesn't need to wear them,
Which is most of the day.
which is most of it.
That's why they're on the bottom shelf of my desk, and they never leave there.
That's funny. Bottom shelf of the desk. What'd you guys do this weekend? Anything fun?
Golf?
I should have known you were going to be saying golf. And I bet you went golfing too, didn't you?
I did.
Yep, I knew it.
With Chad one day. It was fun.
Yeah, I know. I saw the Snapchat of Chad golfing.
Cooked some pulled pork without any issues this week.
That's true. We
That
got
was
some
good.
pulled pork on Monday. Well, some of us got more than other people.
Oh, here we go.
Some people asked for it. Some people didn't.
I didn't know I had to come ask for it. I thought it was just like divvied out evenly.
You miss 100% of the chances you don't take.
Travis, what'd you do this weekend? Anything fun?
I also joined the smoker game, so now I've got a pellet grill and I smoked some chicken. And it turned out okay. Skin was a little tough, but I guess it shouldn't have been frozen since 2020. I'm learning.
I told him to go spend $8 on some chicken,
Oh
and
my
he wouldn't
God.
do it. So
Well,
This is
before my
real
dad
life.
died, he bought us chickens every year, and we just split them. And I just never said no, even though I kept stockpiling them in the freezer. And so I was like, oh, this is a good opportunity to utilize it. And yeah, you got to have fresh stuff.
Didn't work so hot, huh?
I mean, it tasted good. It's just the skin's a little tough.
Yeah.
And also went for a 200-mile Harley ride, so that was a nice day.
Is that a long ride or no?
It is for me. I
Yeah.
usually don't go that long. I mean, it was about 6 hours. So, I mean, it wasn't constant riding. We stopped at a few bars and places to get food and whatnot, but it was about 180 miles exact for the ride. So it was pretty good. Nobody got hurt. Nobody got stopped by the cops.
Why were you
and-
going so slow?
A couple times. We were doing about 105, so I wasn't going that slow.
Not if you went 180 miles in 6 hours, you weren't. You're going 30 miles an hour.
Well, we stopped at a few places.
Oh,
Got some
That makes
drinks
sense.
and whatnot, food.
maybe you should slow down. You're going to get hurt.
It's an hour driving, hour at a bar, hour driving, hour at a bar.
Sounds safe.
That's about right.
Well, at least it was a 1-for-1 ratio.
How did racing go?
Good. We won. We won on Saturday. We didn't race on Friday.
what's that, 4 out of 5 now? You
4
won?
out of 5. Yep.
It's pretty good.
80% is what Nick told me.
It is pretty good. Not bad.
Nope. We had a little bad luck on Saturday. We had a water pump explode in the race car. That was cool. But thanks to a lot of good people, we got the race car back together and we were able to pull off a win. And the boys were there. My son was flagman that night. He got to be a junior flagman, so that was pretty fun.
So you got to wave the checkered when you went through?
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. It's a good time. So, what are you guys doing for the holiday weekend coming up? Anything fun? More golf, I'm guessing, for you too.
We got 3-day weekend now.
3-day weekend.
Woo.
Yeah. Actually, you know what was funny is it warmed up in Minnesota here finally, and it was like the first nice weekend, and every person came back sunburned, like
Yep.
the entire office.
My face is already peeling. It was so fun.
Everybody came in burnt, and I was like, well, it must have been nice outside all weekend because we're all burnt.
I was still shocked that I got burnt. Like it didn't feel like it when I
Same
was
here.
out there or anything.
Yeah, same here. Like I didn't think I got burnt either, and I walked in, I could definitely tell I got burnt.
But you can definitely tell if more people are outside and more people are being active. I've driven past a couple parks where I'm from, and the volleyball courts are full, the basketball courts are full. People are playing mini golf, like softball, soccer, all sorts of crap.
It was a rough winter. I mean,
Crappy time.
everybody wants to get out.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what winter was never going to end. So it was kind of nice to finally get some decent weather.
The best part about the golf sunburn is when you like ride in the cart and everything on my right side is burnt. The other side is just kind of whatever.
I had my hat on at the racetrack, and I had it on backwards, and I have a very distinct line across my forehead where the hat was. So
Yeah, I cut my hair before going out, and the top of my head is what hurt the worst. So I got home.
it's
and
definitely red.
was sitting there, and I'm like, man, my head feels like it's 1,000 degrees right now.
I wore a hat for that reason on the bike ride because I knew I'd fry.
I have
And
such a-
obviously sunscreen, but
I have such a big head that hats don't fit very well, or they'll like squeeze my massive brain, and I feel like I just can't like think as good.
Massive brain. Oh, that was good. That was a pretty good one. Yeah, no, like I said, I just thought it was funny. Like I said, everybody come into the office and it was just like everywhere. You walk into any department and somebody's burnt because they were just enjoying the weather. So pretty awesome. But you know what a need that everybody had was? Sunscreen.
Sunscreen.
Yeah, sunscreen. And that's my segue into understanding the needs from last week. You know, that's what we talked about last week. So I think we all understand our needs now, sunscreen. But today's episode, I wanted to talk a little bit about who you've become. What do you guys think of that? Who you've become. You know, I want to chat a little bit about, you know, just in general, who you've become. And sometimes I think it's because we forget to take a look at ourselves and, you know, with all the commotion in our life, we kind of don't realize it. And I think people sometimes take for granted things they once appreciated or desired, you know? And, you know, we all want to grow our businesses is kind of how I'm, you know, looking at this. And in the beginning, you know, you work for everything and you're trying to grow that business, right? But I feel like there's a fairly large group of people that once the business begins to grow, they suddenly don't remember what got them there, and they let kind of the success, you know, make them complacent, if you will.
Like they lose their drive or something.
It's not even that they lose their drive as much as like they're so busy, they don't have time to think about that drive, right? They don't have, like when you're starting a young business, you're thinking about all the things you want to do with the business and how you're going to grow it and the new product you're going to come out with and the this and the that, you know, what are you going to do to the industry, right? And then you get so busy and you have all these customers that you're just busy taking care of the day-to-day stuff, right? Trying to take care of those customers, trying to do the things that you're doing for your customers and you don't have time to think about the future.
Like growing the business.
Like growing the business, yeah. And I think, you know, that's where people get complacent. And I think that's why a lot of companies, like startup companies, tend to have this like massive growth right away, right? Like when you look at companies, a lot of people like we grew so much for the first 10 years. And then suddenly companies like Target, as an example, right? They take it as a win when they make a 1% growth over the year, right? Because they're this massive company and growing 1% to them is huge. And 1% of a very large corporation is huge. But, you know, when you think about it comparably to, you know, some younger companies where if they only grew 1%, they're disappointed. And it's something that just made me start thinking about it. So I guess, you know, what's your guys' thoughts on that? Like, you know, hearing that or thinking about that subject, I guess, is there anything that kind of comes to mind or anything that you guys think about?
I think about personally just where I've become, what I've become since I turned 18, I guess.
Yeah.
Owning a home, a car, you know,
Yeah.
having those responsibilities that I didn't have to deal with younger ages.
Yeah. No, I get you. You become bogged down by the strains of life.
The strains of making sure the bills get paid.
It's amazing when you think about it as a kid. You're like, all you worried about was going out and playing football with your friends. And then now you're like, man, mom and dad the whole time were worried about all this stuff that you take care of now, you know?
Well, there's all this stuff even when I was little, I was so worried about like making money instead of just like
I know.
enjoying not having to make money.
You know, I just think about being a kid and you're like, you know, when I get older, I can stay up as late as I want. Turns out I still wanted to go to bed at 9. Same time as my mom wanted me to go to bed. Time hasn't changed.
Sometimes earlier.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
much better around those times.
It's funny because like I obviously have 2 boys, and Kate and Ethan both are getting to that age where like they're getting to be independent and like they don't want to go to bed when I tell them it's bedtime, right? They want to go do stuff. And I'm like, boys, you gotta go to bed. And so I get them in bed, and then my boys are in bed, and I'm like, and now I'm going to bed. And I put myself to bed. And I think about it, and I'm like, man, when I was younger, you'd stay up till 11, 12, 1 a.m. Like I'm literally in bed some nights at 8 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this probably comes with going to bed earlier, but I remember being younger and just sleeping in. So 10, 11, 12.
Yeah, I never did that.
2:30
I
in the
never got into
afternoon.
sleeping in thing. I guess
Oh.
Jim Lombardo didn't really allow that in our house. he was like, "Get up, get moving."
You just didn't really understand how much of the day and the time you were wasting away. You could be doing productive things. I mean,
JB made me very aware of that. JB made sure that we did not sleep in.
See, if I slept in that late, it's because I was up till 2, 3 in the morning.
Typically.
And there were some nights I didn't ever go to bed. We pulled all-nighters. There's no way I could do it now. Now, 10, 11 o'clock, I'm done.
I would never be able to pull an all-nighter now.
I don't think I could either.
I'd die. I'd die.
Need a lot of energy drinks.
Just death.
Yeah, I always try to, Friday, Saturday night, stay after the kids go to bed, stay up and watch something on Netflix or whatever, and it lasts about 15 minutes, and I'm out on the couch
sleeping during whatever you're watching.
Natalie comes out at like 11. She's like, "Why don't you just come and sleep in bed and not on the couch? You're snoring, anyways."
You're like, I wasn't snoring.
You sit on a throne of lies.
Was not snoring. But yeah, for me, I think about how I look at this whole subject as like what we've become. Well, we've become better, like as a company. Naturally, when you hear who you've become, I think a lot of people automatically went to the negative thought, like, who have I become, right? But I actually think about the positive things, in a way of becoming what you've strived to be, right? For us, we've become that name brand in some way, right? I mean, a lot of people recognize the name. And I think about 14 years ago, when I was taking over the marketing stuff, like, we weren't that. Like, you had to explain who we were and what we were. And, like, nobody knew who ShopSabre was. And I feel like you still have that in some regard. I mean, not everybody knows who ShopSabre is, but I feel like we definitely are much more known in the industry. And I think about that when I say who we've become is we've been fortunate enough to grow our product line and our support staff and our performance and all the stuff that's made us recognizable. And the website, that's another one. Yeah, there's a button for that. I know, Chad. I'm sorry. My God.
Well, no, not even that. But remember when Kyle pulled up the
ShopSabre.com.
Just want to make sure we get the website out there.
When Kyle pulled up the website from 1999, and
dude,
like just seeing how much information you get on our website today versus what you got on it 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago.
I'm sorry I overreacted. Now I know what you were saying. I thought you were making fun of me for the button.
Next time you do, I'm going to kick you off your chair.
Fair enough. Probably well deserved. But yeah, it's true, actually. We were in a marketing meeting this last week, and Kyle pulled up, I don't know how he did it with his wizardry, but he pulled up all of our old websites and was able to like show me like where we've gone, what we've come from, and it's like, think about that, where we've become. Like the first website we had, and I showed it to you guys, and I'm like, you guys don't know how easy you had it. Like our first website didn't hardly show you anything.
Well, yeah, and it was informational, but it didn't have like the amount of stuff.
Oh my God, yeah.
You can go on our website and get lost for like days, but
sorry, my microphone got me in my beak.
Oh, thought maybe I passed gas and didn't know it.
No, my microphone hit me in the face. Like got attacked.
Thought maybe one slipped out.
My God,
you got a whiff?
No, nope, none of that.
Thank God.
Ketchup and onions.
That would be pulled pork today, boys.
Jesus. Is that the pulled pork I was supposed to take home with me yesterday that you didn't let me take home?
You didn't ask.
I mean, I felt like I asked at the
But
end.
that 1990s website.
Yeah. But no, it's true. Like you said, you looked at that website and, it really shows you who you've become and where you've, come from. And, I think about that, we continue to improve every year and do things and upgrade processes and people and products and, all of this stuff is done with the idea so the consumer wins, right? And ultimately, so ShopSabre wins, right? But you don't realize it because you're doing things every year. So you don't think about like all of it at once, right? You think about the little things you're doing, and then who you've become is this massively different person, place, thing, whatever, than you were when you started. And it's not always a bad thing. That's a good thing sometimes. I mean, and that's what I want people to think about in their business right now is how is your business changing right now? And, could a CNC machine help you? I mean, if you added a ShopSabre today, would you end up in a better place in a year or two because of that decision today? That's really what I start to think about.
ShopSabre.com.
I guess, how could it hurt your business, really?
Well, I don't think it can. I mean, that's my point, is that I think a lot of people just get caught up in what they're doing, though, that they don't see the benefit. I don't think anybody, not that I'm aware of, I don't think people are out there going, well, if I buy a CNC machine, I'm going to be in a bad spot next year. Like, I don't think people look at it that way. I just think if people don't give it enough value. They don't look at what this machine really brings to the table. Chad and I were actually joking around the other day. Chad sells these things every day, obviously.
Try to.
Well, most days. Depends if it's Thursdays. He doesn't do much on Thursdays.
Thursday's half day.
Gets ready for golf. But in all seriousness, we were talking about it. I mean, Chad, you look at prices every day, right?
That's correct.
I mean, in all seriousness with what you're saying, like when you looked at those prices on paper, you saw something when we broke it down to an hourly cost.
It's like $6.40
or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But even you were surprised, right? You looked at it and you're like, holy crap, that's really low. Like, but you don't think about it, right? You just think about this $60,000 machine. And that's where I think people don't look at it from the right perspective. They look at it as a $60,000 machine, Nick. You know, like when you said, how can it hurt you? Well, I mean, I guess, how could it hurt you? Yeah, you bought the wrong machine, right? That could hurt you. Or you spent way too much money, right? You went and bought an $800,000 machine when your business probably can't afford it, right? You can make some dumb decisions. But my point is when you look at like a ShopSabre, if you get the right machine for your budget and your needs and what you're doing, I think it just helps accelerate your business and helps you become something that you aren't right now. And at a fraction of the cost of what it might, you know, that's the biggest problem I think businesses have out there is they handcuff themselves. You know, in my opinion, they don't want to invest in themselves.
Handcuffing could also be relying on other people, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Like relying on the other guy's machine, the other company to do the work for you.
Yeah, I mean, so many people, you know, employees, bosses, companies in general, know what they want for the future, right? I mean, we all have plans. We all have vision of some sort. But how do you become that vision? Well, you gotta make changes. You gotta do something about it. Like, I think there's a lot of people listening to us right now that probably are sitting there thinking they know they need to upgrade their CNC machine. They know that they could do more if they had a better, you know, capability, but they're just afraid to make that jump.
I think that's the biggest thing with, I mean, everything in life. You have to make the uncomfortable changes and do the uncomfortable things to be successful. Like the easy things to do aren't really things that are going to change your life or change your business or make you more successful. You got to do the difficult things and do the uncomfortable choices to be successful.
I've had a handful of customers over the just under 7 years that I've been doing this just say, well, it's just easier. It's just easier to keep paying this guy. But the reason that he originally started talking to me is to try to cut that cost out. So, yeah, it might not be as easy to get your own machine at first, but you're going to save yourself a ton of money. And then most people don't realize how easy it's going to make their life because now you're not having to drive however many miles or maybe hours to go get your product from where it's coming. Now it's your own job. You got your own people doing it. And again, cutting out some of that labor of adding other people that you maybe didn't need.
Or while your CNC is working, you can have that employee that you're still paying do other things that weren't getting done or weren't getting done properly while your CNC machine is running. So it's a win-win for everybody.
I don't think people realize how long they can own this machine for, at least a ShopSabre machine. I know some of the imported machines only last a few years, but there's customers of ours that are using them in heavy production environments that I've talked to guys, I've had this thing for 14 years, 16 years.
That's true. Yeah,
that may be a little long in some cases, but.
No, I think you're absolutely right, though. It's when you look at so many businesses, they misevaluate the equipment. And it's because for the price, they're evaluating it equal to other things of its similar cost. So you look at import product, right? It's very well known is an import product, and their machines last 2 to 3 years, and then people are replacing them every time. Like it's very common, 2-3 years, and they're replacing them. So naturally, people just assume that they're buying something for 2-3 years, but they don't realize that like just because it's the same price as us doesn't mean that we're the same as that, right? I mean, you just don't realize. We talked about this the other day. Like people don't realize how bad something is when they've never experienced anything else, right? And then we have a customer of ours that got his ShopSabre and openly admitted to it. He's like, Brandon, he's like, I didn't know how bad my cuts were until I saw my cuts on my ShopSabre. Like it was just normal to him until his ShopSabre was running. And then unfortunately he had an issue with an air compressor in his shop and his air compressor went down. So he couldn't run his ShopSabre. So he had to go back to his other machine. And he was so mad about it because he's like, I know it's not a ShopSabre problem, but I don't want to run that other machine. Like he was just infuriated by it. And he said that's why he kept the other machine was in case something happens. But now it's a simple question. Who are you becoming? Who are you becoming? Like as your business and as a person, who are you becoming? You know, how is your company or in your personal life, how has your performance been in 2023? Let me ask you that. How do you guys feel like you've been in 2023?
I feel like I've been on a roll.
On a roll. I like it.
I feel good. This has been a good year. I mean, a lot of people were pretty nervous about this year coming into it, and I feel like we've been very successful as a company, and me personally, I haven't felt like I've really skipped a beat.
Yeah.
So I guess for me personally, it's not really business related, but making the job change I did right before 2023 was, I mean, it was a big change for me being in the position I was in and going completely away from that business, but having a Monday through Friday job now and having nights at home with my kids, weekends with, Natalie and the kids, it's been a way more successful 2023, I feel like, than 2022, just because, I can be home with the kids, and now I get to coach a baseball team, a T-ball baseball team this summer. I mean, so being home for those things, I mean, it may not sound like a big deal.
I wonder who the coach of that team is.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be like herding cats. Bunch of little 6-year-olds running around a baseball field wanting to play in the rocks and dirt more than they want to play baseball, probably, but it'll be fun.
That's what I picture Nick as a head coach.
I'm gonna do my best to just have fun with it and laugh at them a little.
You
bit.
have to. At that age, you have to have fun with it.
Yeah, but in all seriousness, like not having that for the last 20 years of maybe being able to be home and enjoy that time, and obviously we all know our kids grow up fast, right? So having that time.
I don't know.
Right.
I was waiting for it. I was waiting for Chad to comment on that one.
So for me, I guess that's the kind of success so far of my 23, besides, learning the job here and doing the job here and how trying to help the customers as best I can. And now that I feel like I kind of got a good role on the, the everyday job part of it, learning more about the machines and what they do, and kind of keeping track of all those answers that people call tech support for, email tech support for, or you guys, just to kind of be more educated and more helpful with the customers on that part of it.
And that is how it's done.
Pretty much. I mean, what Nick just said. No, I mean, that's an awesome answer. I appreciate that because, again, I think 2023, I want to be honest, I think it was slower for a lot of people than they expected. I think a lot of people, customers specifically have said, kind of caught them off guard. It wasn't what they were expecting this year. And, I think a lot of people in 2023, when it started off slower, it kind of put their, guards up a little bit, right? It was less than they anticipated or hoped for. And I think that being said, we're still very busy. I think there's a lot of busy people out there still, and they're just not wanting to rock the boat, right? That's why they're not maybe adding a CNC right now, is because they're just not sure what's going on. But, for me, I believe when things are slower, this is your opportunity to kind of rekindle that fire, right? And I think sales is a perfect example of that. Like, you get so busy at the end of the year and during the busy times that once the slow happens, sometimes you kind of lose that focus because the busy keeps you going, right? You got so much to do that you don't have time to slow down. You don't have time to, stop and think about all the other things outside of work. You just at work are slamming, right? But once it slows down, then you start to get distracted. And I feel like it's hard to get yourself remotivated once that happens. So that's where I feel like when things slow down, I try to use that time to rekindle that excitement I have for what I do and what we do. And it's a great opportunity to reorganize the way you do things as your company, right? So companies who are realizing things are slowing down a little bit right now, like maybe now is the time to start looking at a CNC because you actually have the time to dedicate to learning about it. And when you do buy one, you can have the time to set it up in your shop and go through it and train employees and utilize it, because the reality is are you going to be slow forever?
No.
Yeah, I mean, it's inevitable. As long as you have a business model, and if you've been successful with your business model, you're going to weather the storm more than likely. You're going to get through any slow times or any concerns that you have. And in the end, if you're preparing the whole time, you're going to come out a lot stronger on the other end.
Right.
I mean, ShopSabre is a perfect example of that. Like, we went into COVID with a massive backlog, right? I mean, we had a lot of machines being sold, and then COVID hit, and a lot of places were getting shut down. So I think a lot of people got nervous about that, right? But we invested, right? We invested in our equipment and in our people. We added people during that time when we knew that people needed a job. We scooped up some talent, right? Because we knew eventually we were going to have to pull through this thing, right? And when we did on the other end, we've been able to ramp up our production, and we have some of the lowest lead times that we've ever had in the industry. Like, It's really low lead times right now, but we're still we're very busy still. We're not like we're lowest lead time because we have nothing to do. Like, we have a backlog still, but we have efficiency now. We have equipment we didn't have. I mean, we have robotic welders now. We have things that we didn't have. We have our own milling capabilities that we didn't have before. And all of these things stemmed from being willing to take that next step, right? An uncomfortable step sometimes. But you think about that in your business. If you were to take that step in adding a CNC, router or plasma right now, where will you be in the next year or two?
I think you said it best though, like doing those things when you have the time to actually focus on it and get it installed right, get everybody trained properly, and then when you get busy again, your employees are going to be excited because now they have this new cool machine that's going to do things for them that's faster, more efficient, better quality, and then they end up obviously producing a better product in the end. So what can you not be excited about?
Well, I mean, that's kind of what I think is like it gives you more tools to be successful. Nobody wants to do things the hard way.
I'll have a few customers that'll get, cold feet working with them for a couple of months. They're like, we're just going to take a break on this. Things seem like they're getting slow. I just say, well, are you closing your doors tomorrow? Are you shutting your business down? No. I said, well, then again, let's take this time to learn the machine, get the machine, because your competitors aren't stopping. They're still getting equipment. I'm selling machines every day. So I try to keep people motivated in the same fashion that they need to get a machine. Unless they're shutting their business down completely, you need a machine still. That's why you started talking to me to begin with.
Yeah. And that's a big part of it. Like you said, are you shutting your doors? If the answer is yes, then I guess we have nothing to talk about, right? But most business owners aren't planning to shut the doors down, right? We're slowing down a little bit, just trying to weather the storm. Well, it might be the time to get a piece of equipment in there so you can learn it and use it. But the other nice thing is when you do get busy, you're not looking to hire people then. You're just adding more to your, you add more to your machine, right?
Yep.
I think a lot of it's excuses.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same thing as you sometimes hear the same thing today as I heard at the end of last year is don't know what the economy's going to do. Well, I don't think anybody ever knows what it's going to do.
Yeah, well, I think people overreact sometimes. Something happens and they just make this, like they get freaked out by it.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
That's the truth. Like, I think that's what happens. People just kind of get into this massively, like, over exaggeration of what might be going on. And it's like they stunt their own growth. While their competitors are going, cool, you slow down, I'm going to take all your business. Mm-hmm. Like, that's what I think. I think the aggressive businesses tend to win in this situation, in these economies. It's the businesses who know that the business is out there and we're going to just go scoop it all up.
Exactly. And I think people can use the economy excuse all they want, but
they do it all the time.
But people find a way to come up with money to spend on things they want.
Absolutely.
Like regardless of what the economy is, if you're still working, like you're going to spend that money on the things you want to do.
Yeah. I agree with that. I mean, I think you might be more thoughtful with the way you spend on things you want. Like my example, racing, right? I love racing. Maybe I don't travel as far, right? Maybe I don't do some of that stuff. But am I going to just stop racing? Probably not. Like I want to still enjoy. That's my enjoyment, right? So same for the business. Like, am I going to just stop selling CNC machines? Well, no. Could things slow down? I guess they could, yeah. But at the end of the day, like me being prepared here helps be ready for when things aren't slow, right? And some of that is ramping up production so you're the guy who can deliver. Like people are still going to need cabinets. They're going to still need signs. They still need parts, right? Somebody out there is buying them somewhere, right? Unless every business everywhere is doing nothing, right? So why not be from you? Just you have to out hustle everybody a little bit. And I think that's the problem. People don't want to work. They don't want to do the work. They want the easy sales.
Yep.
Like I'm one of those guys I've always said, like, we're just gonna out hustle you then, right? Like I've got a sign hanging up in the office here, do I not, guys?
For all 7 years I've been here, I've been looking at it.
What's the sign say?
Now you throw me on the spot. It was funny because I knew you were going to say it. So in my head, I was reading it. I see the sign. I can picture it. You won't be successful by just showing up to work. You have to outwork the people around you. Something.
Correct.
That's not word for word, but that's
pretty dang close. Yeah, it's exactly. You're not just successful by showing up. You have to outwork the competition and those around you.
Yep.
So in other words, like being the guy that just shows up to do the work makes you a good employee. Glad you showed up. Doesn't make you successful. You've got to be willing to do the work. You got to be able to put in the effort. You got to be able to start. Honestly, for lack of a better phrase, you got to go kick ass, right?
Yep.
Like that's what you do. You show up and kick ass every day. And that's where I want to go with this is like it's becoming better with ShopSabre. Let's talk about that for a second because let's be honest, we're ShopSabre and I want to talk about ShopSabre. So, we hear a lot of customers about how, from a lot of customers about how they already own a CNC machine, right? However, could you become a better company if it was a ShopSabre?
Absolutely.
I think
Without
so.
a doubt.
Because you end up with a better quality product, you end up with better support. There's things you're going to upgrade. I feel that's a true statement.
I mean, there's a reason that we hear that from people on a daily basis, how happy they are with their ShopSabre, how much better it is than other machines that they've owned. That's not a coincidence that people call us and
I wish we
tell
could
us
get
that
it
or email
more, like, because people are so open to tell us on the phone. But, those people also, they're busy running their businesses, so they're not going out to the internet and blasting that stuff all the time. But if I could, like, every time somebody called in and told us that, like, create a story on it, I think it would shock people how many times people say good things about that. Like, I think it really would surprise people on how many compliments we get daily. And I think part of that's going to be with, Kyle and Jose. They're going to help highlight that a little bit better, obviously, in the coming weeks, months, with the marketing stuff they're doing. But it's some of this real life stuff. It's not just showing you how marketing looks from a sales standpoint, but how marketing looks from a customer service standpoint. And, I think about if you don't own a ShopSabre, is there growth for you? I think so. I think there's an opportunity there. I feel for the money, most people don't realize how much performance they can gain by just adding this kind of equipment. And like the actual cutting speeds that we can achieve comparably for equally priced machines. Like, I think that's something that people don't realize. Like I said, in fact, I found over the years, we've started to compete with brands that are above our product, just being honest. Like, even though I've had customers who, have bigger products and they do have to graduate to bigger products. I'm not saying that you won't have to one day, but, there's a lot of customers that I feel like are expecting a $100,000 or more machine when they buy a ShopSabre. And it's because of that quality that we produce. Like, in all honesty, you didn't buy a $150,000 machine, but then they compare it to the $150,000 machine. Mm-hmm. That's a compliment because that means that you see the quality of my machine, but yet they want me to compete with the $40,000 price tag.
Yep.
It's like you can't have it both ways, right? I mean, I try to compete in between them. I'm not going to be as cheap as a $40,000 machine, but I'm also not going to run like a $40,000 machine. But the same token, I'm not going to be $150,000, and I'm probably not going to have some of the features and capabilities that a $150,000 machine has. It's just simply that. Yep. You have to make a decision on what's important for you today. And I'd say a lot of people aren't expecting that import products to do what we do. Like I just the expectations people have for import products is less. And they give a pass when things fail or suck or they don't get the support or whatever, And owning a ShopSabre, like you have an expectation. You want that service, that quality. And, I believe that we provide support and features that simply are not found in other products for similar value. Like I think I'm confident when I say that. You're going to find 10 to 20% more than an import product, with our machine. I believe there's a lot that we do that they just don't do. And I think you're going to save 10 to 20% over a machine that's, above us in category. I think you're going to save, a considerable amount of money there. And you're going to find that 90% of the people that buy our product will never use the product to its full capabilities as much as they think they're going to. They're not going to push the limits of these machines. And I think that's where what blows me away is I get people that tell me that they've outgrown a ShopSabre, right? It happens once in a while. And then you ask them how many parts they're cutting. And it just blows me away. We have a guy that recently, not too long ago, upgraded to a BSE. I'll just throw the name out there, right? Upgraded, quote unquote. And we asked him how many sheets he was cutting. He was cutting 30 sheets a day. And I'm like, you just spent $180,000 on a machine to cut 30 sheets a day.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts. I mean, You could do that with an IS, no problem. But again, it's just that in their mind, they've outgrown it because of inefficiencies in their own business. They've done things in their own business that you're like, that probably could have been revamped and you could have made yourself far more efficient utilizing the equipment you have. So I think there's something to be said about that too, is that, like with ShopSabre, we have a lot of support and things that, we offer that can really help you get to that next level. And I think it's time to grow your business. Like upgrade your CNC machine. Like I said, go to a ShopSabre if you're not running one. If you're using something imported, if you're using something, that is lesser, I would encourage you to get yourself a ShopSabre. Or at least give our guys a call, right? If you give us a call, I think you guys can at least go through the, comparisons and the things that we're doing, right?
Correct. Come see our facility.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Like if you come see the facility and you see what we got, there's so many things that we do that I feel like for the money you don't get elsewhere. And, to me, that's really where we win, is we do things that nobody else does.
I agree.
Correct.
That's right.
With ShopSabre, you're getting yourself more value. I would say that. Like when you buy a $70,000 machine from ShopSabre, you're getting $70,000 plus in value. I feel like with some machines, you spend $60,000 on the machine, you get a $40,000 machine.
Absolutely.
20,000 for the name.
Yeah. Like I think that's honestly the truth. Like there's some brands out there that are above us that they go for $120,000. They go for $130,000. But they're still a $60,000 machine. They're still an $80,000 machine. And I think that's what blew me away the most about this customer of ours that, quote unquote, as I said, upgraded. The model machine that he ended up with and the capabilities, like you didn't upgrade. You spent a bunch of money on a name, but you didn't actually end up with more machine.
I'd be curious to hear what the support difference was too, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is there's going to be I think out the gate, the support's probably pretty good on those type of machines because you spent so much. But I bet in 2 to 3 years that support falls off pretty fast. Because again, it's an old machine and to them, they're looking for the next sale, right? They're supporting through dealers. Dealers don't have to support you for life. They don't care. They want you to buy the next product from them. That's what they're hoping for. So in 2, 3, 4 years, they're going to be pushing you. Well, you kind of got this older one. It's kind of a dinosaur. Like they start using those terms. And it's like, we got customers out there running machines, as Chad said, 14 plus years, right? Pretty much still running the product without any issues. So,
And probably didn't need a tech to come on site.
didn't have to spend a bunch of money to do it. Yeah.
Like those.
Chad, if you remember, I have that customer I'm working with in
I
the
forgot.
UK.
Just kidding.
I'll remind you. That customer I'm working with in the UK, right? And I went out there and I found, what did I find? Like 12 customers that are in the Europe area that all run our machines. Every single one of them were 10 plus years old. Every single one of them still running them today in their business and still happy as could be. I couldn't believe it myself. When they started naming the models, I'm like, oh boy, we haven't sold those in a while. They're like, oh, it's great. We love this machine.
There's a guy, I think he's in South Africa, that builds propellers. Brandon, remember him?
Yep.
Builds propellers, and he's had a machine for,
My dad sold him the machine.
that,
JB
that long.
Wow.
JB sold him that machine.
That's the same one that's in our showroom, right?
That propeller.
thing.
Yep. Yep.
That's awesome.
JB sold him that one. But you think about that, and it's like, who are you becoming? Right? Who are you becoming? And I think it's who you become as a direct result of your attitude. And, I have that I'm going to win at all cost attitude. That's just who I am. Does it mean I'm always going to win? No. I lose. I crash. I have bad days. But I don't let those days consume me. I find out what we got to do to be better the next day. How do we get back? How do we rebound, right? You don't let people slow you down, for one, right? Don't let processes slow you down. Your attitude, your desire to win will be what you become. And I think ShopSabre has that same win all the time attitude. And if we're in your court and you own a piece of equipment from us, how's that going to help you in your business when you need help, right? That attitude will help because we want you to win.
For sure.
That's my thought. I mean, I guess you guys got any feedback, any other additional comments on this topic?
Well, I was going to say one thing that Nick brought up, the amount of customers that call us and give us kudos. You'll get a few customers here and there that obviously were a little harder to get through the process. And, once they make that purchase, I find that those customers always end up calling me back saying, oh, I bet you remember me. And yes, I do. And they tell me that, they wish they would have been so much faster to make the purchase because the machine was more than what they ever expected. A couple of them have even came back and said, man, I'm ready to buy another one. I didn't really tell you this up front, but this was kind of like a guinea pig machine. We knew we needed more. I'm ready to place another order. Yep. I absolutely love those customers.
Well, I think that's a big thing when you look at how many of our customers do come back for their second, third, fourth machine.
Yep, a lot of them.
And I've always said, like, that's the greatest compliment ever when a guy comes back for his next machine or her next machine. When they're looking for the next machine they're going to add.
Yep.
As an example, I think, everybody knows that we work with April Wilkerson, right? She's coming back for her second machine now. And everybody knows we work with NASCAR, right? We work with Junior Motorsports. They came back for their second machine. Like, when you have these companies that could go elsewhere and they choose you again, I think it says a lot about who you are as a company. And I hope everybody listening is thinking about their company and wondering, like, are you selling customers once and then they're gone? Or are you selling customers repetitively? Because if you're doing it repetitively, you're doing something right.
Yep.
They're coming back to you.
Especially with those companies that have, I mean, they have endless amounts of money. They could buy the most expensive machine they wanted, right? And the
Yeah.
fanciest thing they wanted, but they still come back and buy our machine because, like you said, of the quality they get, the support they get when something goes wrong.
I'm the best there is, plain and simple. I mean, I wake up in the morning, I piss excellence.
That's just how I feel about it. Just saying.
It's true, though. I mean, you can feel that way when you have a company that you know that you can follow that up with, and you're not going to just say those things, and it's actually true what you do every day on a daily basis.
Yeah, I just sold a second machine, actually a third machine, to a company this week, and they said, well, just figured we'd let you know the next 2 months we'll be buying one each month from you for our new locations.
Nice.
I love it.
Yeah, and there was a teacher that we were talking with about training just today, and she said she wanted to get their teachers trained on the one machine, and they're going to be buying 2 more for in their school. So yeah, it's crazy how they just got a machine and they're already talking about buying 2 more.
Chad's making me nervous. He keeps looking over my shoulder out the door.
Sir Benjamin Andrew Rugg was up here.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Hey, Rog.
I like to call him by his full name because it sounds presidential.
It does sound presidential. I didn't even know his middle name was Andrew. I lived with him for years.
Well, it
Had
seems
no
like
idea.
somebody gets to know their employees and somebody else, I guess not my employee. Someone gets to know their coworkers.
I was just going to say, when have you been signing checks? I'm waiting for that. Apparently, we got somebody else signing checks now.
I don't do that. I don't pay people.
Chad, I'll
Oh
take
my
a raise.
God. Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
That's all I have to say. Stay calm. No, you kept looking over my shoulder, and I wasn't sure what was going on, and I couldn't see anything happening because I'm really short and I can't see out the window.
I was just seeing what Ben was up to.
Oh, that's cool. Did you say hi to him? Did you wave?
No, I will after we get out of here, though.
Like, hey.
Hey, Ben, I probably have a question for you.
That's funny. Ben's our tech guy, actually. It's funny. Our tech guy was just coming up here chatting.
He's like
He heard
15, 16 years here or something?
18.
18 years. He's not that old either.
No. He's a big part. I mean, he just even heard it right in the world. Like, he was just walking through the building right now, and he heard us talking about support, and he instantly was like just there at the door. He's like, yes, did you guys need something? Ben, no, it's false alarm. You're
Then
good.
ironically, 6 people are going to ask him questions. Hey, Ben, while you're up here.
Hey, well, I got you.
Happens every day.
No, I just think it's, like I said, hopefully today was a little bit fun, but, serious. Like, I hope people think about what we were talking about and find a way to motivate themselves into that next decision, which is buying a ShopSabre.
Getting automation.
You should do something. Call Travis or Chad. I'll say it since neither one of them want to plug themselves. That's Chad at ShopSabre.com and Travis at ShopSabre.com.
Might be worth giving us a shout, too, and see what kind of Memorial Day specials we have going right now.
Memorial Day
Good
special.
job, Travis.
Memorial Day specials. Wait, do I know about these? Nick, social media, plug it.
Yeah, you guys need
MySpace.
to... MySpace.
MySpace.
Never fails.
Check out our new series.
The new series on YouTube, the Employee Spotlight, every week.
Yeah.
Kyle and Jose are featuring some really cool videos on all the different departments we have here at ShopSabre.
We did Jenna. We did
Curtis was
Curtis.
last week.
We got Tia coming out this week.
Tia and Parts this week.
Tia in parts this week.
Oh, man, I'm so excited for the future.
And then you get to meet Ben.
No.
No.
Ben's coming out.
Ben's coming up. He's in a future episode.
getting
Chad's
ready.
week 4.
I talked to him yesterday
Nope.
about
He
it.
just doesn't
He's
know it yet.
excited.
No, Chad's going to be after we go around twice.
We've already gone around and arm wrestled for positions, so I'll be last.
Yeah. I don't know if you know this, Chad's quite a bit bigger than me, and he threatened my life if I tried to put him on camera right away. So, Chad will be a little while.
You're lucky I'm on a podcast.
See? Told ya. So, I've learned to pick my battles, and a guy who could powerbomb me off the top railing here at the mezzanine probably isn't the guy I'm going to challenge.
Maybe we should see who can hit a golf ball farther.
Probably me.
We could battle it out that way.
Me.
Farther and straighter.
Definitely me. Not me.
He's got nothing.
I can't hit a golf ball straight to
Do you
save
have
my
your
ass.
little way you could beep? Where I could swear.
I don't remember which button that is, but there is definitely one of those in here. Hold on, wait a second. Oh, no, that was the wrong answer button. Sorry. But maybe they're just telling me I'm wrong. I can't hit it straight. So I don't know where the beat button went. I'm sorry.
Well, then I have nothing to say.
I found it.
That was perfect.
Well, with that, I'm Brandon,
I'm Chad.
I'm Travis.
I'm Nick.
I'm Kyle.
and Jose's over in the corner. Thanks for talking shop for ShopSabre.